How are you, folks? How are you, Reds from all over the world? I am your host, Joe O'Neill, and welcome to, good morning from All for United. I can't actually remember the name of the show. I am extremely lucky and delighted to be welcoming this morning, 10 a.m., the wonderful Kojo and the wonderful Rusty. Please, guys, thank you so much for joining. How are you doing?
All good.
Yeah, I was waiting for the Kojo. I've not, I've not been on with Kojo yet, so I was like, I hope he does it.
To be honest, that's more associated with Kojo than it was Jay Ling's ever.
Yeah,
you know. And hopefully, I slightly off topic before I go into it. Jay Ling's has been linked with going to Porto on a season-long loan. So I think after he's gone, Kojo, that's just you from now on, all right? There's
If he goes, then I'm going to go from that to doing the Cavani.
Well, let's hope and pray we see a lot of that this season. Okay, lads. So as you'll know from people in the comments, and please, guys, share your thoughts and views and everything we're going to talk about. This is an Ollie special. Okay. We know across the world with all this fantastic Man United fans that it's Ollie in and Ollie out. It changes day by day, or some are just steadfast in their views. But no matter what, it's a very interesting and complicated subject with a lot of different point of views that you can take. But the first thing we're going to cover before we get into we're going to cover the best moments, the worst moments, and what the future holds. But my first thoughts, guys, Rusty, we'll go with you first. When Solskjaer was initially appointed, not for the caretaker role, but when he was appointed as our manager, what were your feelings at that time?
I'm going to completely disregard your question and go to when he was actually caretaker manager. Okay.
He's gone rogue already. We're only 2.5 minutes in.
Good morning to everybody as well, by the way. I'm having a brew to perk me up. A coffee, in fact. But when he first came in as caretaker manager, I thought, yeah, great. He'll uplift the spirits, team's low, morale's low. And might inject something into the team that we need, ready for a new manager to come in. I never expected him to become the first team manager, but when he did, I was quite happy. You know what I mean? He put a good run of results together. I know everyone. If you mention morale on social media, they go, "You can't fucking win games with morale." But it goes one step, towards creating a great team. Once you've got morale and other players from outside of United see that, and they see the teams playing well, they see the teams doing well, they see the teams getting on with each other. They're like, I want to be part of that. I want to go and play there. So when he first came in, I did, although we weren't sure of we knew his credentials, but we weren't sure how good he really was as a manager. I thought he's going to be worth a pop. I thought, he's done well at the reserve team. He's brought through players like Paul Pogba. He's worked with Paul Pogba in the reserves, Fabio, Raphael, just to name a few. You know what I mean? So he knew some of the big name players that were already in the first team as well. He had good experience. He had good experience at Mould. You know what I mean? Albeit in the Norwegian league, you've still got to be the best of the best, no matter what division is. You know what I mean? So he's proved that he's outgrown a league like that. So what is the next step for him? Surely it is the Premier League. So why not come to Old Trafford? So that, at first I was dubious, but also looking at it, I was like, deserves a pop, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think a lot of people's big concern was when the whole thing with Cardiff. And I remember him saying that he went to Sir Alex, and Sir Alex always says to any manager, it doesn't matter what squad you have at that time. It doesn't matter the coaching staff that you have. All that matters is the owner. Because if you don't have a good owner who wants to build the club up and wants to make the best of it, you're at nothing. And when Solskjaer went there, it was not a good time. It was not a good time. But Kojo, for yourself, do you want to answer my initial question or just go rogue like Rusty?
I'm going rogue as well.
Go for it.
When he first came in as caretaker, I didn't know what to think because I to be fair, I do also disregard that time at Cardiff because they were also changing shirt colours, red and blue. They didn't know what the hell they were doing over there.
Yeah.
So I was like, to be honest, it doesn't matter who you are as manager, you're not saving that club. So I'm not going to judge you too tough on that one. And that Mulder, he did win titles there, and for a team that was sort of they didn't have the resources that other teams in Europe had with them. They got quite far in the Europa League. So that's a decent achievement for such a a smaller team compared to Man United. So I put that in my head. I thought, you know what, let's just see how it goes. The guy won 11 games in a row. They knocked out PSG in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I was sitting there, I was like, you know what? I was sort of like feeling like Rio Ferdinand when he was, giving the contract,
Ollie's at the wheel. Yeah.
I was feeling sort of like that. And then, it went a bit bad towards the end of the season. But in my head, I was like, you know what? Some of these players are not really up to quality anyway. So that was going to come at some point. It is what it is. But when he was fully appointed caretaker, I'm proper manager, first team manager, I can't lie. That's when I was like, I don't know. Just because I would have waited properly until the end of the season before I would have said yes or no to giving him the permanent role. I feel like when it was caretaker, the players felt less pressure and they sort of had to play for their futures, knowing full well that the manager's also trying to play for his future also. So they felt a type of way about it. When he's more comfortable and the players are a lot more comfortable with him, I think they tend to slack, which is like a big negative in this team because we still have a lot of those characters. I feel they have like a slack mentality. When they get too comfortable, they don't perform to the highest level they can on a consistent basis. So
it's like the opposite of being at school, isn't it, Cause your mate? Because if you got a supply teacher at school, you'd be a right dickhead. But if you get a football manager in, you're like, I better perform for this one.
Exactly. So it's so confusing. You'd want to, knowing the manager's going to be there for the next 3-4 years, depending on how long his contract was. You want to make sure that you play for your future because you've been under scrutiny for a long time now. Yeah. So surely you'd want to play for your future and prove that you will understand. And we sold other players and that. But when he became first team manager, I was skeptical, man. It was key for me to wait till the end of the season and then know what you're gonna do. And it went from good to real bad.
It was like the decline was kind of scary, to be honest. Like it was because for me, like I remember saying I was with a group of friends of mine, and I think we just beat Spurs 1-0, and we were kind of chatting. It's like, what would you want to happen for him to take over? Like, would he? And I was like, he'd have to win every single game of the remaining season because for me, he wasn't proven. But then, like, I just remember the feeling, like that feeling when we bet PSG. Like, I would do anything for that man. I would go to the gates of hell for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after we beat PSG. Do you know?
He's in a city.
Yeah, but then it was immediate. It was the decline. Like, I can't remember the first game afterwards. I remember we lost Arsenal, but that was prior to the PSG game. Yeah. But I can't remember the first game afterwards, but I remember the Everton game. And you felt like, oh, there is a job on his hands here. Like this, like that was such a rapid, like straight down. But on that, but for me, like I was optimistic but a bit scared because for me also Pochettino didn't do anything at that time. He had made Spurs like up to a certain level, but I was like, he'd have to win a trophy. But then he got Spurs to the Champions League final, and we didn't really do much. So he kind of proved himself in other ways. But we're okay to keep things. I'm going to make it more pessimistic so we can be optimistic at the end. Okay. And since we mentioned the Everton game, for you guys, Rusty, we'll start with you again. What was the lowest moment?
It was this weekend, mate.
Yeah,
I know, and it's a bit of a cop out to go to your closest memory, but for me, it was just disastrous. I know there was other circumstances surrounding it, obviously with the red card and that, but I think it's been building up for a while. That there just seems to be. I don't want to criticize. Well, you do have to criticize sometimes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Constructive criticism's all right. Ollie, I think the way he's started the season is the formations that he's put out. The starting lineup in the first game of the season just fucking absolutely baffled me. When he did have players available that he could have played, it just like I don't know if he was overconfident in the team that he had and underestimated Crystal Palace, or if he genuinely thought that obviously Pogba was still recovering from COVID. Greenwood had just come back from his drama. Banging a couple of lasses in that hotel room and that, and if he thought, you know what I mean, maybe he just thought they weren't ready. But for me, you know what I mean, if they were on the bench, they were ready to play. So he should have started with his strongest team. And since then, his reluctancy to play Van der Beek, when clearly every time Van der Beek's come on, he's looked absolutely amazing in them pockets and created chances. He must be doing that in training. He can't just be doing it when he turns up at Old Trafford or an away game. He must be doing that in training for him to see as well. So why he's not playing is another one. So yeah, all that led up to the game against Spurs at Old Trafford. That's the lowest I felt in a long time, to be honest, as a Man United fan. I think that was compounded by the fact we was having a proper shit window, mate.
Yeah.
So, and then that came as well as, it can't get any worse, can it?
Like, literally, the only saving grace of that day was at least the Scousers got hammered as well. Do you know?
Yeah, but like I said on Twitter, it was like, it was like having the worst toothache ever and just finding some decent tablets to get rid of the pain for a while, wasn't it?
That was literally it. That was literally it. You're some man for your analogies, Rusty.
I love my analogies.
But I remember in that game as well, and like, because it's so fresh, because it's so recent, that like we played badly before and we've been beaten badly. Like, we'll touch on a few of them. But like in that game, there were just the calamitous mistakes. Like I don't think that went around yesterday with David De Gea literally screaming at Luke Shaw, and like it's funny as well as being utterly depressing. Just no, Luke, no, and like it's. I remember like, and you wouldn't get that if the fans were there, but like I don't think I've ever seen. Like I would personally say, right, I feel so bad for Harry Maguire. I know he's earning so much a week and all like that, but I just think his head is gone, because he was our best centre half, our best defender, well, alongside our Wan-Bissaka, but our best centre half definitely by a country mile last season. And like we were the third best defence in the league, and then going from that to like everyone saying that he's not good enough, I think is starting to affect him, because the mistakes he was making in that game, I felt like so compact together was very, very unlike him. But Kojo, for yourself, is it the same game, or are you going to go?
Yeah, I was thinking about when we were so close to the top four, we dropped points to Cardiff and Huddersfield that season.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that one, because I couldn't believe how bad. I mean, yes, we had a bad run of results, but those are two teams that we should be destroying no matter what. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they were done as well. They were going for Huddersfield was staying up, but Cardiff were definitely going down, and we couldn't deal with them. But this 6-1, and like Joe, you know, I've been very reluctant to say Ole out, because I don't like get onto coaches too tough, because I know sometimes, you know, players get away with a lot, and they tend to get away with the responsibility because they know they're not going to get sacked. It's very rare in top level of football that a player gets sacked. Very, very rare. So the only one I can think of is, because high profile, is Roy Keane, because of what happened on MUTV.
Yeah, but his contract was up soon enough anyway that it wasn't the biggest thing.
But that performance and what turned for me was his decision at halftime when, yes, Bruno and Matic were paused. Everyone was paused. Thinking of Bruno and Matic isn't my problem. Yeah. But it was bringing on Fred and McTominay to bring the scoreline, and we'll keep the scoreline at 4 maybe. That's what I felt like it was. It felt so defensive, and he's come up under the philosophy of Cyrus Ferguson of attack. And I understand it might have been gung-ho, but surely your intent would be to make the scoreline more respectable, even if you lose. Make it 4-2, make it 4-3, you know. And you also lost a striker, but somehow we lost the shape of the whole team, despite having a back four, despite having a midfield. And I have to question these things, because I've always questioned his in-game management. But this game scared the living hell out of me. I was like, no, this is not good. This is really not good. So that game, I did say Ole out after that game, just because I understand that he's done good things for the team. Yeah. I understand that you know, he's made the transfers of players in terms of sales that we wanted to go. We weren't convinced by Lukaku, because he scored goals, but he wasn't scoring big games. We weren't happy with Smalling. We're happy with Ashley Young. These guys were going. I understand that. And the board, you know, everyone knows what the board does. They haven't backed him properly in the window. Yeah. Some of the players that we're supposed to get rid of, they're still here. But that game alone, and even Rusty, you talked about the Crystal Palace game as well. I was just It's baffled me. It's actually genuinely baffled me. And Van der Beek's not starting ahead of Pogba because you guys know I like Pogba. You know how much I love him. But if he's just come back from COVID and on top of that, he's just not looking in good form anyway.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are, if your form is bad, you have to be dropped. Simple as it gets. I understand he can be a game changer, but right now he's not playing like a game changer. So why have you spent 40 million on a player that's not playing games?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me.
There was a comment. Yeah. Sorry, Rusty, you said something.
Yeah, I was going to jump on that comment from Brown. He said the narrative that Van der Beek's not playing is a farce. Sorry, Brown. I welcome your opinion, but what do you mean? If you want somebody to play, you want somebody to play. What's the problem with saying? Are you saying if I turned around and said, "Oh yeah, you should stay on the bench," then it's not a farce? I can't quite understand your comment, dude. For me, Van der Beek for 40 million when Pogba's not playing well, as Kojo just said, has to be in the starting 11, has to be given an opportunity. The earliest point, you know what I mean? Because Pogba's playing not just bad, he's playing like way below par right now. If Pogba's on fire, Pogba wins your games. If Pogba's not at the game, Pogba loses your games.
Because the nature of the COVID and everything the way it is now, like people didn't get a pre-season, and like also Pogba did have COVID as well, so he might be still feeling the effects of it. And like Donny van der Beek has come in. He's had a full rest pre-season. He's had everything. Like he is probably the fittest player at the club. Like he should be starting games and let Pogba readjust to coming back and coming on, but like just replace them basically, and have Pogba coming down with 20 minutes to go for the next couple of games. But a couple of other results here that I was looking at. And also, sorry, just your thoughts on this one. This comment that came up earlier. It's down to coaching. No one will be slacking on the Fergie. We can't see it in the dressing room, but is Ollie too nice?
I feel like...
Sorry, go, Kojo. Go on.
Sorry, bro. I don't think he's too nice. I mean, I've always heard this thing about him having this sort of reputation where he's gotten to players. He's had the ability to do that. But also, I do feel like he can have the tendency sometimes to be a bit pally-pally with players. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. But at the same time, I don't see this authoritative side that I've heard about. We hear about it, but I haven't witnessed it myself. So I can't say for myself that I see that. I want him to be a bit more commanding, especially on the touchline in games. I need you to be up there a lot more. And if you see mistakes happening, be more proactive instead of reactive. You know? And also, I do feel like he wants to start Van der Beek, Pogba, and Bruno. But when are you going to make that happen? Are you going to do that now? Or are we how long are we going to wait? Because Van der Beek is going to get frustrated at some point. Because he knows that he can outperform these guys. And even in his cameos off the bench in the Premier League, he's outperformed everyone that's been in that midfield so far. Yeah. So when are you going to start him?
Isn't he a joint top goal scorer? No, Bruno's too. Sorry.
So he's our second top goal scorer.
Yeah, he's definitely got goal. Yeah. That's depressing. But I was looking at to finish off on the worst results, because we're going to have to move on to something positive just to keep the mood up, because it's very early in the morning. For me, the worst result was, of course, it's the 6-1, but just to be a little bit different, as Rusty knows I like to be, I'm going to say the 1-0 loss against Newcastle when Longstaff scored, because I remember going into that game, I was like, this has to be 3 points. And Newcastle, everything was pointing in our favour. Steve Bruce had never beaten us in the 500 million times he's played against us. Had never beaten us. I think at best gotten 3 draws or something like that. And Newcastle at the time were just so down the luck. I was like, we'll do them. This should be a handy 3 points. Yeah. And to lose 1-0, I think it was a De Gea mistake as well. Maybe it was a goal.
Oh no, Longstaff just blasted it from long range.
Yeah. But it was just it was just a miserable outplayed performance in St. James's Park. And I remember I missed the match, and I remember I was watching the highlights. I was in work in a ward, and the highlights were on Match of the Day. And everyone was talking around me, and I was just standing there dead-eyed, being like, how is this happening? How is this happening? And I would also say, I've said this before, if it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't have Ollie as manager now. And that's not his fault. That is due to the fact that we haven't had the resources to bring in the players that he needs. And when Pogba got bored of you, I don't blame him. It was only a matter of time. And he's back. He comes crawling back. But if it wasn't for COVID, I feel like we would have a new manager now, because the injuries we had going into that break, we had Pogba out, Martial, Rashford was out, Martial was in bad form. Everything was going out the window. But then we had that 6 weeks or whatever it was, and everything kind of came back. But guys, we're going to move on to something more positive. We're going to say, oh, sorry, Rusty.
Can I just say, mate, I love the PJ checkered blue and white bottoms. You've jumped out of bed, put your United top on. I spotted them creeping into play. But mate, I'm not going to take the piss out of you and leave you hanging dry. You know what I mean, lad? I've got mine on as well.
Well, thanks for representing, Rusty. Kojo, would you mind standing up? Only if you have pants on.
I'm training legs this morning, man. So
Look at them legs.
That's nice extension by you. Anyway,
thank you.
Oh, someone's vibrator's going. Okay, to move on. And please, guys, you've been great in the comments so far, and please keep sounding off. But we're going to go on to something a bit more positive, okay? We're going to go on to the finest moment, our favorite moment from under Ollie's tenure, whether it be the caretaker or whether it be his full manager. Let's just put smiles back on our faces and everyone that's watching. So, Kojo, we'll go to you first for this one.
I'm stuck between two. It's either the PSG game, because that emotion was incredible.
Yeah.
I've still got the video of myself celebrating. Like, someone recorded me.
You were at it.
Oh no! I wasn't at the game.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, but me and my boys went to a bar just because I came back from work super late, so I ran to the game, and I managed to catch Lukaku just as he scored the first one. So I was like, oh, hold on, here we go. And then when the penalty went in last minute, I screamed the whole joint down, and people in the pub were looking at me like, "What's wrong with this guy?" I was like, "Listen, you don't understand. You don't understand." Yeah. So I also say between that one and the win away at City in the Premier League, because it felt easy.
Yeah.
It felt really easy. That was
the 2-1.
Yeah, it was so dominant. Yeah. You go into a game and you're just like, it's City. You go into their stadium and they'll be super good. Like, this is going to be difficult, and we dealt with them like they're children. Yeah. I couldn't believe how simple it was. So those are the two high ones. But if I'm going to pick one, I can't. Nothing matches that emotion like the PSG game. I can't. I still have that fuzzy feeling in my heart. Like, I can watch that game again and still feel the same way. Sort of like how you want to feel when you look back in Man United history and you're like, oh, that game made me feel a certain type of way.
When you still can remember, when you still the feelings just come right back up.
Yeah, exactly. And with the team we had as well, we had players that were injured. So players like Chong, Dallo,
Jesus, players
like that were not playing games, and then boom, out of nowhere, we win that game. Phenomenal.
I think that was the best thing Dallo did in the United jersey, would take that pot shot to get that handball. Like, that's pretty much all he'll be remembered for whatever it is, For Rusty, buddy, for yourself.
Will you do me a favour, Joe? I've just had a phone call come through before, mate, but it's fucked the sound up. Will you kick me and put me straight back in, see if it works?
Yeah. Hold on. The first time I've kicked someone. It's removed from the stream, that one, yeah? That is?
Is he back?
It's all right. I'll deal with it. I'm a professional. I can carry on. Man. Kojo's second game there was my favourite game under Ollie as well, just because it kind of made me feel like, hey, man, we've got a tactician here. You know what I mean? He's just completely outfought. And then the team have completely outplayed Man City in their own back garden. I thought, up. You know what I mean? There's something promising coming here. We've got even any doubts on it. I did have about Ollie. I thought he can coach. He can be a tactician. He does know his ball. And the fact we were 2-0 up at half time. And did we have McTominay and Fred in midfield that day as well?
I think we did.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they worked so hard and tireless, and what a performance it was. You know what I mean? The PSG one was the one for the goosebumps and the adrenaline. But the one for proper watching a good game of football that required not just dedication and heart, but also a great tactical game, a performance where every single player was just on it. Just every single player knew what they were doing. They stuck to it. It was like watching the most beautiful dance ever. It was like watching Swan Lake or something like that. It was I don't know if I've never watched Swan Lake. I don't like it, but I imagine that's what it'd be like. You know what I mean? It wasn't Flatley, was it? It wasn't like River Dance or like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was good. It was good football. It was beautiful to watch, and that for me, that got me buzzing. And I thought, here we go. You know what I mean? We've got a chance now moving forward. Ollie's going to progress this team both with desire, with morale, and with some quality coaching.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one for me.
We're getting love for you as well, Rusty Rocks. Unless he means like you're actually rocking on your chair and he's just letting you know.
Yeah. Really set dimension.
Yeah. Okay, let's see this one. Don't get me wrong, I've loved Ollie in charge, but he hasn't been backed in his window. He needs to go save himself. I don't know what that means. He needs to go to save himself. I don't agree that he needs to go to save himself because I think he needs to stay to try save his reputation.
Yeah, Darren's saying, but a lot of people saying, aren't they, that, you know, with the backing he hasn't got, once again, I don't know, we've had a bit of backing, but it just still feels like he's been hung out to dry.
Yeah.
Would you just step up, say, I don't want to be paid off. I'm going to go to the world. I'm going to go to the world's press. I'm going to go to all the tabloids and I'm going to tell the fans and everybody in the world what the fuck's going on. See you later. And it'd go down as one of the biggest legends in Man United's history, a bigger legend than he already is, if he went and did that. I think I spoke to a few people on different podcasts about this, but, you know, he's not going to do it. End of the day, it's a great little fairy tale to think about, but he's going to put his head down and try and do his job, isn't he? Because that's what he's paid for, and he wants to succeed as a manager as much as anybody.
Because if there will be like two narratives that we want put out by him, if that was to happen, where like he wants to save United by leaving United, but then there's also a lot more people in the media that are controlled by United that will change the narrative, be like, oh, he wasn't good enough to save the club. All this stuff will come out of like little things that might have happened. Oh, we've lost Rusty, but I kept Kojo.
Yes.
Sorry, no, did it wrong. But like, if that was to happen, I think it'd be two things. It'd be a narrative, like I was saying, one narrative being from Solskjaer, and then one from the club, which would be like, oh, he was a waste of space, and he'll never work again, whether he wanted to or not, you know. But we'll move on to the last bit of the subject now. And he's back. Sorry, we'll go at Rusty.
Awesome.
The great return.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what it was is I thought, I don't want to be start saying I'm going to leave and come back in to try and sort my sound out. I wanted to have that moment where you go, oh, we've lost one. No.
We literally all celebrated Rusty. We went crazy. We're like, yes, he's gone. But to see us out, nearly see us out. First of all, we'll go where do we go from here? Like from 6-1, we have an international break. We're coming back against Newcastle. How do we see the season playing out? I think, Kojo, we'll go with you first this time.
We've got, in the next couple of weeks, a whole lot of tough games coming up.
Yeah.
The Newcastle game is super important for me because you need to bounce back, and you need to bounce back in a big way. You've just lost 6-1. You need to put a statement of intent there, especially with your new signings, to say, okay, we lost 6-1, but we've brought our new players in and we're ready to get going again. You need to win that game, because if he doesn't win that game, he could be this close. He could be this close, because if people are going to look and say, you lost 6-1 to Tottenham, if you cannot beat Newcastle, whether it's home and away, if you cannot beat Newcastle, the PSG, Chelsea, all those guys coming up, are you sure you can get results against them?
Yeah.
And that's always going to be the question. I understand sometimes these tactics have worked where we haven't beat the lesser sides, but we've gone to City and we've beaten them. We've gone to Chelsea and we've beaten them. I get it, but you've just lost 6-1 to a team that's called another top 6 side alongside you in Tottenham.
Yeah.
And that was in your ground. So now that changes, because usually in these games you get away with a result. This time you got absolutely smoked.
Yeah.
So he has to win the Newcastle game for me. That is a must. That for me is his most important game right now. Because if he doesn't win that game, we're starting to hear these little things about, Pochettino and they're talking to representatives here and there. It could take one quick change. You lose that game, he could be manager on the Monday after that fixture. So he has to win that game. If
to continue on,
if he doesn't win that game, then I think he's done.
Mark just has a question for you, Rusty. Good to see you on a serious show, Russ, instead of a humorous one. Can you be serious? I think that's the best answer you're going to get, Mark. And we lost Gojo again. What is up with this stream? He'll come back in a minute. Anyway.
This is the first time I've ever been on All for United and not hosting. This is my Virginia performance as a guest.
And you're doing great. Well, we'll let the fans decide. And you are because someone said they love you. But and he's back. Is it, lads? I showered this morning. Like, is it me or what? But Rusty, on the same question, also, like, there's reports. Joel Glazer came out with an official statement saying that Solskjaer is a complete backing of the board, and they want to have a long, successful career together. So, with your thoughts on that, and where are we going from here? Basically, what do you think?
The only way is up now, isn't it? Surely we've had the disastrous start to the season. The only 3 points we've got came after the full-time whistle. So it's got to be the only way is up. Like Kojo said, we've got Newcastle next, then we've got PSG, Chelsea, Leipzig, and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Well, that's tough. So we need a win against Newcastle just to get us in. To get us performing ready for them next 4 games, because they're going to be, if he can get through those games with at least satisfactory results and some points in the league and some points on the board in the Champions League, then he's going to see his job through, I think, without a doubt. But I reckon I don't think he'll go if we get beat with Newcastle, but it will be, his head will be on the chopping board ready to be chopped off, like, kind of thing. But I reckon that the next 5 games are the biggest 5 games in Ollie's short tenure at Old Trafford right now. But for me, where do I really think it's going to go? I think he's going to win the treble, mate. He's going to take it all down this season. He's just going to out of nowhere. He's just put us all in like a false sense of security. He's like, only kidding, going to win everything, lads.
I remember actually prior to the to when we lost to City 6-1 under Fergie a couple of years ago. I remember I think there might have been an international break. I think it was around the same time, but the next game we had was away to Everton. And at the time, Everton were probably a similar standing to where Newcastle are now. And that was a vital game. And the most important thing Fergie said afterwards was to win, but also keep a clean sheet to keep morale up. And we did. I remember Chicharito scored. It was 1-0. So we kind of have to hope for a similar out. Like, would you rather like a boring 1-0 win, or would you rather like a storm burner 4-3, or like anything, just a win?
Yeah, anything like that. 1-0 win, last minute 1-0 win. Scrappy, just digging deep. You know what I mean? Fighting for the badge, fighting for the club that you play for, showing that you want to be there. Like, I think Bruno does that, but I think sometimes he goes about it a bit the wrong way. People go, he's a fucking leader. I don't know. I think he's quite disruptive, to be quite honest. I think he needs to fucking chill his beans a little bit. Yeah. He's being a leader, he's shouting at your teammates and getting them on board, but kicking off with them every fucking time you're frustrated ain't the one. But yeah, take scrappy wins. But just quickly on your Glazers comment that they're going to back Ollie. When I'd seen that today, I'd seen the thumbnail for the show. It was like Glazers back Ollie. I was like, mate, no one's got fucking faith in the Glazers. So why? The minute they say we back Ollie, everyone's like, nah, mate.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's done.
You might as well pack his bags now. But like, I think the same way. I'm feeling the same way as you guys. I don't want to be as negative to say the writing's on the wall, but it's kind of how I feel. I like no matter who the manager is, all right, as long as their entire being is to make the best for the club and to make the best for the players and make the best for the fans, I'll want them to stay for as long as possible. I will only ever be someone like I was Jose out going into his final few games because he was just a vile, horrible human being, and I can't stand him. And how he treated the players and how he bullied the players made me want to say, get out of the club. You know, there was no other way around it. I thought he was a horrible human being. I still do. But so when it comes to with Solskjaer, he is doing everything he can to get the best out of those players. It's whether he's good enough or not. But for me, I will back him until it comes to a point when it's just evident that it's not going to work out. But I feel, unfortunately, that the writing is on the wall. I do feel the club want Poch. I know there was Rob Blanchett. He was on the show yesterday, last night, and he was saying that, look, Woodward made it an open secret and basically told everyone that he wanted Pochettino for the entire, like, while Solskjaer was caretaker, which, look, none of us are surprised about. But the rumbling going around, like what I think, Coach, you alluded to, that it's Poch coming back in again. I do feel it's a matter of time. I've set, like, narrative-wise, I know this sounds a bit mad, I think the 12th of December will be Solskjaer's last game because it's against Leeds at Ellen Road. Yeah, I think so. Like, I'm telling you, put a tenner on it, lads. I personally feel that is the way it's going to go. I hope not. I hope Solskjaer turns everything around and gets the backing eventually that he needs.
I can't lie to you, though. A loss against Leeds, I don't think I can take that.
No.
No.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is a Leeds fan. Like, and some of my best mates.
See Kojo's face when you were mentioning that, and he felt, I could see it, like he felt a bit nauseated. I thought he was going to need a bucket. And to be honest, if Solskjaer's short reign at Old Trafford comes to an end against Leeds, that would just be too much for me. You know what I mean? I feel low enough as it is, but against Leeds as well, they would never shut the fuck up about that. They'd be like,
never.
Oh, I'd be worse than Liverpool winning league almost. Not that fight.
Yeah. But so, lads, I like the question I posted in the timeline there. Is Poch United inevitable?
Yes, I think so. I still feel like Solskjaer's not going to last. I just don't know if he's going to get the results that he needs to stay in the job.
Yeah,
he might get better results to get us in a better position. But that being said, though, I don't feel like the Glazers have a strong ambition to try and get to a challenging position. So maybe if he gets into the top 4 again, they'll be comfortable. As fans, we know our level. We do want to get stay Champions League, but we also want to get and close the gap between us and Liverpool and City big time. We don't want it to be so big ever again.
Yeah.
So, but I've never felt this ambition from the Glazers. Under Sir Ferguson, they even shortchanged him. We sold Ronaldo and bought McAlowan in for a free transfer. And he's number 7. Yeah. That's when I knew, man, this could be a long time. So hopefully Sir Ferguson stays until he dies. Obviously, he didn't do that. So I don't know if they'll do that, but I do think Poch is inevitable at some point. I think if it's not this season, next season he'll be here. One way or another, we're getting Pochettino in.
Russ, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he will. But why would anybody want to come to Old Trafford and manage it when they can see what's happening year in, year out? I suppose Poch's probably the only one because he likes to work. I say likes to work off a shoestring. I don't think any manager likes to work off a shoestring, but he's shown that he can work off a shoestring and take a club to probably a bit like better places than they really should have been. But for me, I think I sadly feel the writings on the wall. I don't know if it's just because of negativity you see all over social media that kind of like ingrains in you to your brain and start thinking believing what you read. But you know, at the end of the day, I hope Ollie turns it around. I hope he proves everybody wrong, the doubters and the tabloids, and does a good job. But sadly, I think the writing's on the wall that Ed Woodward's gonna get his little bum by him. And I'll back Pochettino. It's not who I want, but the minute he's at that table and he's calling the shots, then I'm behind him as well.
Yeah. Green Devil's wondering, Rusty is calling him Pox.
Poch. He said Poch.
Said Poch.
Yeah. Look, for me, like, I think we're all in agreement, all right, that he hasn't got the backing. He had one window where after that window where he got Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, and then all he was supposed to do this season was top 4 and ideally get a trophy. But like top 4 was kind of it, and he gave his list of players. Sancho, Bellingham, Grealish, none of them were signed. So I think what's leaving a bad taste in our mouth is that we're going to see Solskjaer eventually get replaced, and he'd never had a fair whack at a stick. Is that the right saying? I said it wrong before as well.
I think so. Damn.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. Say it if I got it wrong. Say it in the comments. Yeah, we'll go with it for now.
Yeah.
A fair whack with the stick, isn't it?
Well, you're with a stick and you're hitting people.
I think it's actually a horse. I think it comes from a fair whack of a stick, like, isn't it?
See, this show isn't just about Man United. We teach as well, you know.
Welcome to school, kids.
Why don't we go and get Nagelsmann? Because he wouldn't want to come to us. He'd want to go to Bayern Munich. He'd want to go to PSG. He'd want to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid or City, someone like that. But like, I think that's what's going to leave a bad taste in our mouth is if Solskjaer was, thank you, Paul Andrews, a fair crack of the whip.
That's it. That's it. Fair crack of the whip.
But I think what's going to leave a bad taste in the mouth is that he was never given the chance to like really go into this market and get everyone he wanted and go into with his team, get rid of the deadwood. It didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And unfortunately, that's what might end up being his legacy. It could be of what could have been. Because if you look on paper this season, it's definitely a huge progression from what it was. Bar Mourinho's first year, it was definitely a big progression of what we have done in the previous seasons. Third place, 3 semi-finals. You know, it was all about building up, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I would like to leave on a positive note. Is there anything said for another mass? Green Devil, I get that reference. Thank you very much for it. Anyone else? Father Ted? No?
Yeah, I love it.
Love it. No, damn you, Kojo, you're too young. Another mass. Sorry, it's very, very funny.
That was a positive moment.
Okay, we'll leave with this comment, all right? Back your manager. He's not at fault. Ollie will do wonders. Absolutely. We'll leave it on that, okay? Ollie will do wonders. We're full of belief. And it'll happen, okay? And for everyone, guys, I'm not sure. I think I'm on a show tomorrow, but in case I'm not, Ireland are playing tomorrow against Slovakia. Rusty and Kojo will be wearing their Irish jerseys, which I've shipped over to them. And if we win that game, we're one game away from qualifying for the Euros, which will definitely happen. So make sure to tune in and support. But guys,
you got my support.
Yeah, always. Rusty, anything to plug?
Obviously, I'm on this show every Monday. We didn't do it this Monday because I had a little accident with my family. Won't go into it, anything, whatever. But so I'm back with the good, the bad, the ugly on Monday. Obviously, I've got my show, Eat, Sleep, United, Repeat. It's not your most conventional kind of football show. Get across there and watch me be a bit of a dick.
Yeah. He's great at being a dick. It's kind of his thing. Kojo, yourself?
Yeah, you can catch me on All for United 4 with breakdown and banter, which happens pretty much after every United game. So you want to see my face in the next 2 weeks over here. And my podcast Room Midfield, we're starting recording again, so we're going to have a show out real soon on YouTube and all the audio platforms. And of course, my other 2 Footy Says, where we interview footballers, and Usman Talks United, where we cried yesterday so much about Man United. So
yeah, tears. Yeah.
Just put the pinkies down. Man. Just put the pinkies down. That's it.
Arthritis.
For myself, Joe O'Neill, you can find me on Twitter, Acting Joe. Please give me a follow. I want to try to get to 1,000 subscribers before I die. On Instagram, Joe Your Own Way. On YouTube, check out my comedy short films at Joe O'Neill on YouTube. And make sure to see the lads. Okay, let's J Lings our way out of this. Okay, lads, ready? 1, 2, 3.